This is Rockslapping Champions. Player 1, playing Tychus. We have Feed. And player 2, playing Swann. We have Papa Zoe B. So, let's have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. Tychus has gone for the Tychus Shredder Grenade cooldown mastery, the Try Outlaw mastery, and then the Odin cooldown mastery. This one's kind of an interesting choice. I normally go for the Medevac cooldown, and I think maybe for this mutation this might be a little bit better to go for this one instead, because it means that you can get away from Fatal Attraction. As you can see, the two mutators active are Fatal Attraction and Diffusion. Everyone will remember this one as a really fun and interactive mutator, or weekly mutation, which is the Shared Pain mutation. Swann has gone for the Combat Drop Mastery, the Immortality Protocol Mastery, and he's gone for an even split into the Vespene and the Drill Upgrade Mastery. So again, really, this is really a matter of playstyle. I personally prefer the Concentrated Beam Mastery. Getting that extra width and getting the extra damage does help a lot when it comes to being able to deal with attack waves, which is generally where you will be using your cooldowns on. And for this one, Immortality Protocol, Structure Health, it really depends. Are you going static build and unit-centric build? And it really also depends on the kinds of units that you will be building. And then this one, Vespene Drone Cost Drill Upgrades, I normally just go straight up for the Drill Upgrade Mastery. I tend to use my drill a little bit more aggressively, and I find that the Vespene drones don't really provide that much of an economic boost when you actually need it, which is in the early game, which is when you are actually Mineral Star. Tychus is already out, and he is going to start clearing some of these boxes here, and he'll be making his way towards the northern side of the map, and I think he'll be pushing into the main expansion area. Over here, what is Swann producing? Swann is going for a starport, and he has a tech reactor on the way for his factory, and he has... So yeah, he's basically just building up his SCV. His drill will be out in just a little bit of time. He has an armory queued up, and he has 3 supply depots queued up, and an engineering bay. Which was is this the lucky SCV that's going to be going for all of this? I think this one SCV has been queued up for pretty much all of these structures here, which is going to be somewhat problematic because this thing is going to take a while to finish. Tychus just slowly getting ready to engage this tank wave, and you can see that the enemy composition here is Brutally Corruption. Now, I think Fatal Attraction is one of the least enjoyable mutators to play up against, and it is basically because enemy compositions like Zerg, like this, is manageable, but once you start getting Broodlords and Swarm Hosts with their temporary units, it becomes almost impossible to control your army. I think one thing that Blizzard could do to mitigate the negative impact of this mutator is temporary units that respond, like Locusts and Broodlords and Broodlings. Those should not trigger Fatal Attraction. That's one thing that can help reduce the impact of this, especially when you're playing up against Zerg. When you're playing up against Zerg, this mutator is pretty much unplayable. And another thing they could do is basically just change the way the mutator works, which is right now, when your units get sucked in by Fatal Attraction, they lose all their commands that have been issued to them. So I think that just 2 tiny changes on Blizzard's part, I think, might make this mutator a little bit more manageable, especially when you're playing up against a composition like, Zerg or Swarmy. You can see the Balius is already out, Tychus has already picked up all the parts here, and yeah, that one SCV is just going, and he is going to start creating all these supply depots, and we have a few more supply depots also on the way, and Swann has basically tied up 400 minerals right now that he could be using to build up his army. And what is he producing? He is going for, this is the Hellion upgrade, and he's basically queued up, okay, so he's queued up also a bunch of upgrades here. He's gone for the Advanced Optics upgrade, and he's also gone for the Vehicle Ship Weapons upgrade, and he's going for the Regenerate. Yeah, he's just basically queued up all these upgrades onto this one armory here, and it's going to take forever for that to finish up. But if he wants to fast build his upgrades, he should probably build a second one, especially with the buff that Blizzard has made to the armories now, in the sense that they no longer cost gas. But I am also not sure whether Hellbats are the right way. We have Diffusion active, which means that the units near them are going to... Any units within 5 range of the Hellion or the Hellbat will be taking damage here because diffusion splits the damage evenly among all units in a certain area, including your own. So he's going for something which does not really have that much range. They have 2 range, and with the advanced optics upgrade, which is also on the way, they're going to end up having 3 range, which is still not enough to beat the diffusion, and that is going to be somewhat problematic. And you can see here exactly what's happened. His drill has hit that Overseer, the Overseer died, triggered Fatal Attraction. Fatal Attraction ends up pulling off this army, and now they have lost all their commands, and they're just going to be sitting here until Swann realizes that something is needed. He's also used his combat drop somewhere. I think he was probably using it to clear this area out, which is good use as long as he's using his combat drop. His next combat drop is available, and he has a bunch of Hellbats here standing right in the range of diffusion, and you can just see them just taking damage right now. The good thing is that he is going to have his regenerative biosteel. Okay, he does have his regenerative biosteel upgrade, so they are going to regenerate at least a little bit of the HP. But this is not going to save them against the onslaught of Zerg that they have to fight up against. You can just see over here, they are going to start taking damage. Now, one thing is, which is somewhat ironic, is that they don't deal a lot of damage anyway, especially versus the train. So that, I guess, kind of works out for them. He does have a science vessel, and he also has the improved nano repair upgrade for the science vessel. So that is going to make it's going to make his army a little bit stronger. But now I've also realized Tychus has his expansion. He decided to switch sides with Swann, but Swann has no expansion yet. He's just put that down, and he's queued that up onto that one SCV. So that SCV is still also not going to make its way until just a few more seconds now. And it's going to be a while until Swann gets his expansion up and running. That hybrid already is dealing a little bit of damage. We have Swann who wants to go... Oh, he switched his Hellbats into Hellion mode, which I'm not really sure is a wise idea. He runs right into this base here. He's trying to chase that one bonus objective. That train almost dead, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that. And I don't even think he's paying attention, because that combat drop might have been able to intercept that train. There's a bit of Goliath on the way. He wants to do and try to catch that train out. That train is in the red. I saw the HP bar is very, very low. But again, there are a bunch of banelings here, and that Fatal Attraction means that there's no way that Swann is going to be able to catch that train out. And also the attack wave comes up and intercepts Swann's building expansion, and that is the end of Swann's expansion with that one SAV. So Swann, still no expansion at the 11-minute mark. One hybrid there just chilling right now, has nothing to go and attack it. So Tychus is going to go with the Odin and just go deal a little bit of damage to that hybrid and clean that hybrid up. But again, Swann is going to build a missile turret over here, which is okay, I guess. Swann does not want to take his expansion. Oh, he does have this thing queued up. He's queued that up on that one SCV, hasn't he? He's now decided to change his strategy. He has realized that the Hellbats and the Hellions are probably not the best units to use, so he has added some Cyclones now, and he's going to be using these Cyclones to deal some damage and fight against... He's also somehow managed to lose a few more of his units over here. He has one random Cyclone here with a bunch of science vessels, and yeah, we have... Actually, he's still built some Hellbats as well. He has 3 random Hellbats somewhere on the map. I don't know. Okay, so these Hellbats are all basically sitting right now over here, and he has his Cyclones over here. Is he going to do a pincer attack? I am not sure what his plan is. Okay, so the Cyclones plus 1 Hellbat. The other 4 Hellbats are going to be chilling over here. There's a random Vega over here. I think the idea for Vega is that Tychus is aware that there are going to be Broodlords, and rather than try and take out the Broodlords, because they're going to keep spamming their Broodlings, and you're not going to be able to control anything, I think his plan is just to steal the Broodlords instantly and not have to deal with it, which is, I think, a really good idea. We have a combat drop down for Swann, and you can see now how Fatal Attraction can get very, very difficult. Luckily for him, not a lot of things over here, so he will be able to clean this up reasonably well. And unit-wise, we have, yeah, we basically have 6 of this combat drop. I forgot what that unit was called. We have 5 Cyclones and 7 Hellbats and 2 Science Vessels here, and this is going to be somewhat problematic. That Science Vessel is going to get pulled in by Fatal Attraction. That Science Vessel is basically going to be uncontrollable unless Swann pulls back, and this is what you have to do, and this is one of the things that makes Fatal Attraction really difficult to handle. is that the only way to stop yourself getting sucked in is to stop attacking the enemy units. And even then, sometimes it gets really, really difficult. We have a concentrated beam that gets shot down here. Not the most ideal use of a concentrated beam. There's an attack wave over here that is harassing Tychus. I think that it would have been a little bit better for Tychus to go and clear the attack wave with a concentrated beam. Finally, the expansion is up for Swann at the 15-minute mark, but Swann's base right now is getting pummeled by this attack wave, and Swann is over here and just getting hammered by the small enemy camp, and I don't think anything here is going to end up surviving. One science vessel goes down. I think Swann has pretty much lost his entire army. 5 Cyclones, 14 Hellbats, and the Goliaths as well must have also gotten sucked in. This command center was lost a little bit in the early stage of the game. Last but not least, this one lone science vessel just surviving and just trying to contemplate the horrors of battle it has seen. We have Crooked Sam added over here, so this is a semi-interesting build. I personally would not have gone for Crooked Sam, but maybe there was a use here. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's used for the demolition charge to try and... I think this is maybe to try and deal with the train, but I'm not certain about that. We now have General Davis that is going to try and attack this hybrid, and General Davis will end up... Actually, is she fighting from range? Literally kind of interesting. She is going to get wrecked by this one hybrid right there, and there are a bunch of Hydralisks as well. So this is one of the good things. General Davis is unaffected by the Fatal Attraction, so that'll be okay. Yeah, so I think Tychus basically has gotten his build here just to try and deal with this one train. I think that's probably the reason why Sam was also created. Sam does have his value, but usually if you're killing the hybrid really quickly, I think that is probably what the idea is like, I think Tychus doesn't really want to deal with the hybrid, so he's going to end up demolition charging the hybrid and just moving away and let the damage get dealt like that. I think that is what the plan is. Swann is still trying to get his army back together after it has been shattered by Amon's base. He wants to go and try and deal with this enemy camp again, which is... I don't know if it is a very smart decision, but now you can see they're all getting pulled in. And now we have another attack wave coming up on the top left side of the map, and I think Swann is going to send his 2 Hellbats to deal with that attack wave. And I do not know whether you play co-op very often, but 2 Hellbats is not going to be enough to deal with an air. What happened? What? Why did the concentrated beam go over there? It missed the entire attack wave. And now we have a combat drop that gets dropped as well to try and help Swann's army out. I think this might be enough. The infestors are spamming their little infested Darren ability here, and that is causing some problems for Swann, but I think he finally is able to clean up that wave. And again, all those Hellbats are dead because again, diffusion is active, so all his units are actually killing each other in the process. And I think, yeah, he also managed to lose a 1 missile turret over there, but that missile turret was lost, I think, from that Mula Zergling harass earlier in the mission. We have the Odin over here trying to deal with this hybrid right now. We have some Cyclones that get locked down. I think the Cyclones are not too bad of a choice, but he has to be fighting with the Cyclones from maximum range. So he uses the lock on and just tries and just kites this hybrid so that he doesn't get pulled by the Fatal Attraction. But now he has actually ended up engaging the enemy units on the edge of this enemy camp here, and he's getting pulled by this hybrid, and they are dealing some damage. And Locust just basically end up wiping out his Cyclones. So far, Swann he's added some Wraiths now into the mix. He has a bunch of Wraiths because he is trying to figure out how Swann handles this. And the correct answer for Swann is you don't really. You kind of... The only units that are immune to Fatal Attraction for Swann are sieged up siege tanks. So using that one Wraith also ends up dying to a Hydralisk. But the way you deal with it is just having a bunch of sieged up siege tanks in a Hercules, and you let the Hercules die because it just gets pulled away by Fatal Attraction. But now you can see just how deadly this is. These Broodlords are spamming their Broodlings, which means that this is pretty much unplayable. If you start killing Broodlings, it is basically game over for your army. You can see the cycle just locking on. Broodling after Broodling ends up getting pulled up by Fatal Attraction and not being able to do anything. And these Broodlords are just causing so much problems. This is why this Mutator Fatal Attraction is just so obnoxious. It just these Broodlords are basically unplayable against, and now this one Thor as well is going to be jumping into the mix here. And again, you can see that Tychus is just not able to deal anything. He does end up, yeah, see, this is what I thought he was going to do. He is just going to start stealing these Broodlords and just not having to deal with them at all, which is a really, really nice counterplay from Tychus. Like, I would not have thought... I would have basically just F10 queued if I saw Zerg anyway, but that is just me being salty. That is it. We have now the one... Actually, I'm kind of surprised that Wraith survived. What is there in Swann's army? He has 4 Cyclones, 1 Wraith, and 2 Thors right now, and 1 Goliath as well. His units are basically spread all over the place here. He does have his expansion up and mining. And he wants to try and slowly push into the side. He wants to deal with this one hybrid, and this hybrid will actually die, so that is not a problem. We have another concentrated beam that gets used here. He does not have the mastery for the concentrated beam, right? Yeah, so he doesn't even have the concentrated beam mastery, which means that that Wraith is pushing in somewhere it should not be pushing, because his entire army is going to get pulled in right now, and because they're going to end up aggroing, and these swarm hosts have also started to aggro. This is basically Swann's army just written off. There's no way he's going to be able to pull out of that unless he just spams the right click and just gets away from this, but he is not doing that. He wants to just push and attack here. He uses his pulse cannon to hit the hybrid, but again, damage on the pulse cannon is fine. He should have used his pulse cannon here to try and clear these units that are aggroing, especially the swarm hosts. Because the swarm hosts get so much value with the Fatal Attraction, and basically that is a bunch of his Thors pretty much dead. There's another Goliath here, and the Goliath will also end up dying, and that drill is not helping Swann's case at all as well. It is just attacking these locusts one after the other, and it is actually causing his stuff to die. Swann is using his Immortality Protocol here, but that one Thor again, his Immortality Protocol after Immortality Protocol. Is he actually going to end up winning this battle? No, he lost most of the Thors. There is one Hellbat here that tries to help his Thors, but again, Immortality Protocol onto this one. He is trying to keep his stuff alive to the best of his ability. This is going to be a very interesting skirmish, because the Swarm hosts actually are going to end up... And now the Infestor has casted its Fungal Growth, and the Zerglings have aggroed, and the Mutalisks have aggroed. And now I don't think there's anything that is going to help these units out here. One of these Thors does try to end up resurrecting itself, but dies to the Mutalisks here. Few more Hellbats joining into the mix here. This conga line is basically a conga line of death, and everything is just going to end up dying. Thor has respawned like 5 times already. It is not going down. That's actually one of the good things about the Immortality Protocol for Swann, is that his units can actually end up respawning, but the Thors, not very effective. I can't believe this Thor actually survived. These Hellbats actually cleared out all these Zerglings, and this Thor ended up surviving as well. These guys, where are they going? They're going to end up aggroing some of these locusts over here, and this Thor is basically okay. Yeah, so now we have the Odin gets dropped, and from the Odin, the big Thor, the daddy Thor gets dropped from Tychus, uses a nuke there and ends up cleaning up that side. And now there is an attack wave, and these Brood Lords are just going to end up killing off. Finally, the Thor that once lived has been killed off. Press F for that Thor. We have a bunch of science. There are like more. Are there more science vessels than Swann has units? Okay, he has a few more units. He has some Hellbats here, and now this attack wave is just going to try and engage this army for these commanders. The last hybrid has been set up, and General Davis is going to make her way eventually. Old Granny Davis is going to be making her way towards the hybrid at some point at her leisure. But again, there's another attack wave here, and again, these obnoxious Broodlords are there, and they are just going to be annoying the hell out of Tychus. Yeah, he uses medevac airlift, and unfortunately, Sirius does trigger his little anti-air missiles on some of these Broodlords. That does end up interrupting Tychus, but they are able to clear up the set of Broodlords that were harassing them. So that is that attack wave cleared up, and strangely enough, now Swann is building his next refinery. Swann is actually floating 4,000 minerals right now because of that little fight here. He has a bunch of supply depots. What does he have anything in production? He's just making a bunch of Goliaths right now. He just wants to have some stuff out. He has a bunch of Hellbats. Again, Hellbats not a wise idea against Diffusion, because Diffusion ends up killing your units. There is an attack wave now that is on the way and making its way towards Swann's base. Is Swann going to engage us? Nope, Swann is... Oh, he's gonna pull his army back to try and deal with Stack Wave. Tychus is already in position though. He has a bunch of turrets already set up. Unfortunately, I don't think this attack wave is going to be able to intercept these turrets. We have a bunch of fungal growths onto Tychus, some Goliaths moving to help here, and we have a pulse cannon gets dropped. That pulse cannon was actually decent. That is what Swann should have been doing throughout the course of this game, using his cooldowns to deal with the attack waves. And if you're actually efficient, all you need is concentrated beam. You can end up wiping out the entire attack wave with just one concentrated beam. And you can clean up with your army. Cleaning up is not a problem. The difficult part is just engaging those broodlords. As you can see, it just makes fighting this army very, very difficult when you have Fatal Attraction enabled. So, big kudos to Tychus for not rage quitting with the F10Q when he saw the Zerg duke it out against the Broodlords. And now, this one hybrid does end up stasising, and now he has started to spawn attack waves, and these attack waves are just going to be so annoying. Infestors, Broodlords, General Davis does help a little bit by using her splash attack, and that splash attack, it does end up killing off the Broodlords over that was spawned by the hybrid, and now Tychus needs to try and rush. We have a nuke here. I don't know how valuable this nuke is going to be. Actually, that nuke timing was reasonably decent there. It does end up dealing with the amount of damage to the hybrid. We have a concentrated beam that also gets shot right into the middle. And I think that concentrated beam timing is okay. Crit Sam is just getting pulled away, getting aggroed, but that hybrid has died. And all the hybrids have been cleared on this mission. And that is GG.